Most people think they have a motivation problem. I can't get motivated enough to do X. I can't get motivated enough to do the hard thing. People don't have a motivation problem. They have a letting go problem. And I realized this over and over again, coaching people for 5 years. Difficult letting go of relationships, difficult letting go of businesses, difficult letting go of security, perceived security, difficult letting go of savings for something, difficult letting go of partnerships, friendships. We as human beings have a letting go problem more than we have a motivation problem. I've created a new venture and I've been working on it for some time, and I've been giving it thousands of hours of resources and my own time because I want to make sure it's exactly what I want to bring to market, and it needs to solve a problem that I've experienced so much in my own life. If you haven't watched my first YouTube video already, please do. It's all about how I perceive the differences between ducks and swans, and whether you are a swan or a duck. Nature teaches us so much about what it means to be human and how we can better look after ourselves and better fulfill our life's purpose and feel a lot more fulfilled. We're always looking for meaning. We are meaning-making machines. And if we live lives that feel unfulfilling, if we're in relationships that feel dreary, if we're running businesses solo and burning out and not feeling like we're able to make ends meet or get to the places that we want to get to, it's very frustrating. We have a letting go problem more than we have a motivation problem. The other day I was out on my evening walk. I live on an island, so it's very coastal. And I stopped and I watched these birds diving down at dusk to catch their prey, which are obviously the fish beneath the surface. And they were circling around, and one by one they'd dive down. And as I stood there watching these birds in their natural habitat, I realized they don't procrastinate. They don't fly around waiting for someone else to catch their fish. And if they were to wait and procrastinate, they would die because they would go hungry. Now, if I translate this to our soul, when we don't feed our soul, when we procrastinate, when we don't take messy action toward our dreams, toward that difficult conversation, toward letting go of that person that no longer serves us, toward starting our first video, toward building a new business, toward building that new identity we feel more aligned with, our soul slowly dies off. And when our soul slowly dies off, we are far more inclined to loop into the infinity loop of self-destruction. Netflix and alcohol and drugs and things that give us dopamine spikes, they're all far more appealing because our soul is starving. And in order to feed the soul and fuel the soul, we must take messy action. We must dive headfirst to get the fish. We must go all in on the thing. We must get really messy when it comes to that conversation that we don't know is going to end very well. Very recently, I've had a couple of relationships fall apart for me. And I intuitively knew for a long time that we weren't aligned, yet I didn't really do much about it. And then when the time finally came for me to listen to my intuition and state the facts, I was right. And it wasn't a matter of being right or wrong for ego. It was, I was right in the fact that this relationship was not for me. But I delayed it because we get scared as humans, and we also want to give other people the benefit of the doubt all the time. That is what starves our soul, because we're not listening to our intuition and into that inner knowing. I was also sitting at my dining table. I have windows that go like this, and it's full windows that look out to the ocean. And a lot of the time, there are wasps and bees and flies that come into my house because I live very open plan, and they get trapped at that window. And I looked at it from the wasp's perspective this morning. The wasp can see the ocean, it can see the bush outside, it can see the forest, and it keeps bumping into that pane of glass. And that pane of glass, to them, to the wasp, shouldn't be a barrier for them to see what's on the outside. I can see that. I'm looking at it right now. I can see that ocean. I can see that forest. Why can't I get across? Like, why can't I get motivated? Why can't I take action on this? Like, I'm like using all of my resources, just beelining it for the window over and over again. And what that wasp taught me, which is so timely as I'm making this video, we must enlist support and help for the things that we cannot see, the invisible barriers in our businesses, in our relationships, in our wealth creation, and in our lives at large. I picked up my notebook. I took it over to the window. The wasp crawled on the notebook. I took it outside and I let it out into the bush. I literally saved that wasp's life, saved that wasp's soul. It's not going to logically think and backtrack its steps to, I came through the sliding door on this side and now I'm stuck at this pane of glass. No, it's going to keep attempting to do what it's always done. That's when I realized that I was onto something, and this really does need to come into the world ASAP. In order for us to feel seen, heard, understood, supported, validated, celebrated, we must be around others that are similar to us, that can see us, that understand us. It's a lot more tempting to drink, smoke, scroll, escape, eat, cheat, binge, when our soul is slowly dying off, when we procrastinate, when we don't make decisions, when we're unsure, when we're trying to gather more information, when we're not listening to that inner knowing. The more and more that we opt for the addictive tendency or the behavior that is not good for us, the habit that is really shitty for us, the more it solidifies our doubt, the more it solidifies our insecurities, the more it solidifies our fear. And it's our fear that stops us from living from our soul. And our soul wants us to take the risk. It wants us to move in the direction of philanthropy, helping people, doing something that is aligned with us creatively. I'm here for the swans, and the swans are artists with an entrepreneurial spirit. They appreciate art, they love aesthetics and beautiful spaces, and they love the things that bring joy, peace, harmony, and love. Nature has been my greatest teacher, bringing this venture to the world. The reason why I'm doing this is because for the longest time, for my entire life, I've always felt like the ugly duckling. Like I don't really fit anywhere or I don't belong because I like fairly unconventional things. I'm creating this because I selfishly want a community of amazing women that want to change the world, that want to change the way we relate, the way we love, the way we raise our children, the way we make money in business, the way we support one another, the way we collaborate. And it's a safe space where nothing is too much. And that's another thing I realized being in a lot of male-led masterminds and groups was that there's no space for the feminine. When it's led by men, there's no space for the feminine. I realized that I want to be in a space that feels safe. And safety has always been my soul cry from having a lot of trauma from my childhood. I want to cultivate the safest space for women to make money, to make love, and to make art. I hope you'll join me.